What's a feature or functionality you've added purely based on customer feedback that wasn't original part of the vision?
Well, we just recently, and it's funny you asked that. So we have a Facebook group called JobTread Pros where we've got, I think we're at almost 4,000 users in there. And earlier on, it was a lot easier for me to kind of manage all the feedback, and I was kind of keeping track of it on the side. And it got to the point there where it was like kind of a little bit overwhelming.
Are you struggling to figure out what project management software is right for your construction business? Well, stay with us to learn more about JobTread, a project management software taking over the construction industry. Today, I am very excited to have a chat with the CEO of JobTread, Eric Fortenberry. Welcome, Eric. Thank you so much for taking time to have this conversation today. I am so excited to find out even more about the software and how it can help construction companies.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for bringing me on.
Yeah, so I am very, very curious. What really led you to focus on the construction industry as opposed to other industries that are also, they need robust project management tools?
Yeah, great question. So it was after I sold my first company in 2015. I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life and what my next venture might be. And I ended up starting to do a whole bunch of home automation stuff, and that didn't seem to kind of be my thing that I wanted to get into. But then started working with my outdoor living contractor, and got to know her a lot and understanding like how she was running her business. And she was awesome at the design and the trade and kind of getting everything implemented. But I learned that she wasn't really great at managing her business. And I ended up going and spending time, with her at her office. I helped implement QuickBooks. We implemented another project management software. And I started having some challenges and sort of feeling like, wow, like what, this shouldn't be that hard. But I definitely saw the impact firsthand of implementing systems and processes for her and her company. And then along the same time frame, another buddy of mine had said, "Hey man, can you come and help me figure out how to scale my business?" They were general contractor here in Dallas, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Went over there, and it was like deja vu all over again. I walk in, I see all the papers, the binders, the processes like were just totally lacking. It was just a chaotic situation, and they were at a much larger scale. They were doing like 5 million in revenue that year, and it's like, guys, look, like you just need some software. Let me go and find you something that'd be a good fit for you. And I went and I looked at everything out there. And at the end of the day, though, I struggled to make a recommendation for him because I felt like, everything was either, kind of pretty antiquated and been started 10, 15, 20 years ago. It didn't look like we were going to be able to customize it to our business, or, it's going to be super expensive. And, they were like, well, you're a software guy. Can't you just build us something? I was like, well, hold on, not trying to create another one-off, or, I'm not really sure you guys are in a position to maintain this thing. I wasn't exactly trying to come on full time either. And they kept pushing me though. And I got to realize, like, as I studied the industry more, like I felt like there was a huge opportunity here, and that, it was just, a great opportunity really. And so I decided to come on. I told him I had 3 conditions. One, I take over as CEO, need the full authority, the ability to right the ship, hire, fire, do whatever we need to do, get whatever process systems in place. 2, I told him I would give him 1 year of my time. I would literally come in every single day, help build this company, roll my sleeves up, be in it. And but 3, everything I build was going to be my intellectual property. So in case this had the potential to become my next company, I had that option after 1 year. And so I essentially took over the company, built JobTread out of a needs basis while running this construction company. And we grew them from 5 to 8 million in sales that year. We increased our gross profit by 43%. And that I think just having that opportunity to run a construction business that it wasn't starting from scratch. I really got into and saw the challenges of scaling and being able to build something that is profitable and scalable. And that was really kind of where JobTread was born, and just built it out of a needs basis.
Yeah, you just see what people are looking for and build it out. That makes sense. I mean, I have been using you guys' software for a couple years now, and I just gotta have it has helped my clients so much to understand where each project stands, their job costing, their budgets versus actual. I mean, that's my personal favorite, feature, because you go in there and it's just everything is right there, everything you need to know. And I was excited because the software also looks very, very user friendly, which is not something you see a lot. You see a lot of people wanted to be in the software development business nowadays because there's so many project management software out there. I've worked with at least 12 of them, I want to say. And JobTread is definitely blowing me away. And you guys' customer service is just on top of it every time. Well, I wonder, I just told you what my favorite feature is. What's your favorite feature of JobTread and why?
I would probably also say it's the budget. You know, when I first, you know, dove into how this business was operating, I was trying to figure out, like, why can't we hit our target profit margins? You know, I mean, I think some of my first advice is you guys might as well go to Vegas and roll the dice. Like, it's a total crapshoot. And you know, I ended up though shadowing, you know, the estimators and the salespeople, trying to understand how were they, you know, coming up with this price. And sure enough, as I expected, they were just a lot of times pulling numbers out of thin air. You know, if they were able to come up with some sort of a, you know, expected cost, then, you know, they were, you know, using markup, you know, to calculate the price. So like we were targeting a 30% profit margin. However, only the owner and one of the guys was using margin to calculate that price. The estimators and everyone else, they were just marking the cost up 30%, which it took me a while to realize and actually see what was happening. But like we were literally just shooting ourselves in the foot. Like a 30% markup is only going to get you a 23% profit margin. And so, you know, I said, all right, guys, like put away your calculators. Like, you know, we need to have a very detailed budget. And I wanted them to focus on coming up with every single cost, you know, every single expense, you know, everything that was going to need to go into this budget, you know, from equipment to labor to materials to permits, like everything. And then we will automatically calculate the price, you know, based on using margin. And I found that was just such a great transition for us because now the guys were focused on documenting the scope of work, what was included, the details. Like I can't tell you how many contracts, you know, we just, or how many, you know, projects we went into without having a signed contract. Like we couldn't even do change orders because we didn't have a scope of work. Nobody knew what was included and not included. And so having that budget, it really is, it's the core of JobTread, and everything from estimating to the job costing to the invoicing, it all ties back to that. And, you know, unlike a lot of the other software out there, like I wanted to make it where like you didn't have to keep re-entering the same information over and over and over again. You know, we wanted to be able to have one place to use for everything. And so you can create all these documents, you know, right from that budget without having to, you know, re-enter the information over and over and over again.
Yeah, I like it. I think a lot of construction companies out there, they are unsure of this whole margin versus markup difference, and they get caught in it, and they are unsure what in the world has happened. I mean, we were supposed to make profit on this project, and now I don't have any cash in the bank. We owe a bunch of money to the subs. Like, we don't understand where we stand, and still a lot of people don't even look at their reports or have their reports available for business as a whole or by project, which makes it pretty impossible to spot the problem. I mean, especially if you have fixed price contracts and you're not tracking that budget versus actual, how do you know if you're even
Exactly.
you know, estimating properly? It's pretty hard to understand what you're doing wrong and see where the numbers are at without looking at tracking and looking at specific reports.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, we had, you know, QuickBooks in place, but like the problem was that, you know, in the back office, like they saw, you know, and entered all the information, but like there was this disconnect with the field. And so, you know, I ended up finding, like, I mean, when I first took over, we had over $800,000 of AR. Like we just weren't collecting on our invoices. And like, you know, some people were like, well, how do you do that? That's someone's fault. And, you know, at the end of the day, though, what was happening is the field guys were telling, you know, the back office saying, hey, you know, send out that invoice. And we did. But then she had assumed that the field guys and the project managers were, you know, were working with the customers and that they knew when we got paid and when we didn't. And they had no idea. They weren't in QuickBooks. They had no visibility into that. And so, you know, again, it just led to drop balls. And on the same token, on the, you know, accounts payable, you know, we were getting bills coming in from our subs, our suppliers, like, you know, they were getting entered and they were just getting paid. and like we were being double billed, overbilled. We had, bills on the wrong jobs, like just not having a very connected, job costing system where the field and the back office could all come together and see where we were over budget, like, using POs and work orders to like, essentially track your cost in real time. We waited 30, 45, however many days to get our bills in, and we had already sent out all the invoices. And then we find out, oh, we have additional cost, and that just comes straight out of your profits. And again, I'm real passionate about, the whole financial tracking. And I think it's so important, that people take the time and do the job costing. I hear all the time people like, oh, we don't have time, or we don't have a system, or whatever. It's like you could be just wasting so much money and not even know it. It was like death by 1,000 cuts. And I hate seeing, contractors who are doing great work, but they can't pull in the profit like they deserve.
I agree. It is very painful to watch because I talk to so many guys there. I understand they're in business because they're so passionate about what they do and they want to create. And when they created a business, they didn't realize that all this tedious work it's a must to make money in the business itself. So you have to automate, you have to outsource, you got to implement the right software. Very important. And I know that many construction software tools, they have tried to balance the ease of use with the complexity. So there's all of these features in there, right? How do you balance innovation with keeping JobTread more intuitive for less tech-savvy users?
Sure. I tell people all the time, like we're not reinventing the fundamentals of how to manage a construction business. I mean, those fundamentals haven't changed in decades. What we're doing is we're leveraging modern technology. We have the late mover advantage. We have been able to study and learn from everything else out there to figure out what has worked and what hasn't worked. And through our collaborations with our clients, like we view our relationship with our customers as a partnership. I believe that, we don't have to solve all of the problems. We just need to bring the right people together and work with our customers to create an easy to use and easy to learn, extremely fast. There's nothing that drives me nuts more than sitting there waiting on software to load. Like that just, inefficiencies in those minutes, they add up. And so, I think that we really have had the advantage of just a phenomenal community that's been built around JobTread, partnering with our customers. And just, my co-founder and my developers, like, unlike a lot of software companies, like we have not outsourced a single thing. Our entire development team is in-house. Like we all work in the same office in Dallas, Texas. We aren't remote, we aren't outsourced. Like, the core of our business is building a phenomenal software product. And so we do that right here in-house. And, we have a lot of experience building, easy to use, scalable systems. My last company, we had provided software to colleges and universities all around the world, had over 20 million users on our web application. And so like, we have a lot of experience building that enterprise level, very scalable software. And, I think it's just been about bringing, and building the right team, around that. Our entire team. I mean, again, I think one of the things that you already alluded to earlier is, our customer service. And I would say it goes beyond just our client services team. It's that a lot of people on our team, like everyone on customer success, everyone on our sales team, like some of our marketing, some of our developers even have had experience in construction. They understand what it's like to either run and own a construction company or to work at a construction company. And so I think having that experience has really helped us to make sure that we're building the best possible product that we can.
And I agree, it's so important to listen to your customers and hear what do they think? What could they see improvements in? What can they suggest could be done better? What's a feature or functionality you've added purely based on customer feedback that wasn't original part of the vision?
Well, we just recently, and it's funny you asked that. So we have a Facebook group called JobTread Pros where I think we're at almost 4,000 users in there. And earlier on, it was a lot easier for me to kind of manage all the feedback, and I was kind of keeping track of it on the side. And like it got to the point that where it was like kind of a little bit overwhelming. And so we created this feature request board that is directly in our application in the help desk, where people can go and they can see everyone else's feature requests, sort it by popularity. They can upvote the things that they want. And so that has really helped us to prioritize our development to make sure that we're doing the things that the largest majority of our customers want to see us add. And so one of those things was to-dos. So we've always had the notion of schedule and task in the application. And so you could build out job schedules and punch lists, and you technically could use that. But one of the things that rose to the very top was that people wanted a separate to-do list function. They didn't want to have to put every single to-do on the schedule. They wanted to keep the schedule a little bit more higher level. It's something that you can share with your clients, as well as with your subs and trade partners there. But like, they wanted a separate to-do list. And so finally we're like, all right, even though these are very, very similar, technically you could still do it today. We listen to our customers. We understand that even though it's similar functionality, it's very different purposes and how they wanted to enter those specific to-dos versus scheduled tasks. And so we ended up implementing that. We had tremendous feedback from all of our clients. So happy that they now can separate their to-dos from their schedule. And I'd say that was one of the recent things that we've implemented based on that feedback.
That's a great feature. I have to agree. I did hear a good feedback about it.
I think and I just got off a podcast with a home builder out of Mississippi, and I mean he was telling us, like, if it wasn't for having JobTread, he doesn't think he would have been able to scale the business and really even survive. Because it's so important that as you take on more projects, as you take on larger projects, as you try to coordinate more moving pieces, you have to be organized. You have to have systems and processes in place to make sure that you aren't dropping balls, to make sure that you're not losing money, just to be able to bring everybody together in one central location, to have all of the files, the photos, the communications, like, being able to leverage these client portals and vendor portals, like, it's so important. And so, like, I have heard, just countless stories of how JobTread has saved their businesses. I've heard that it's saved people's marriages. Like, if you can imagine, being, working with your spouse, and like, but just not being organized, and like, the number one challenge that construction business faces is cash flow. And a lot of times that comes down to, maybe you didn't bid the job and sell it correctly, or maybe you're just not managing the job correctly. And so, like, being able to help so many different types of construction businesses has been really exciting to see how we've been able to help them. I mean, I had a guy, a couple weeks ago call me and said, "Eric, I want you to know, I just sold $1 million job. I never in my wildest dreams would have ever believed that we could sell a job that large." And he said, the reason that I won that job is because of how professional we looked. We were bidding against a ton of other people, and they weren't even the lowest price bid. He said, but they had the confidence because they saw our schedule. They saw how detailed we were. Like, they knew that we were going to be able to execute on this job, and that we wouldn't get into some of the challenges, and that there weren't going to be, corners cut and shortcuts taken. And so I think those are just, again, I hear these stories like every day, and it's just so exciting for our team to know that, really, regardless of your size, whether you're a solo owner operator, wanting to grow, or you got, hundreds of employees, like, I think at the end of the day, like, we're very passionate about helping businesses to be able to scale and to be able to do that in a profitable manner. Because at the end of the day, like, that's what it's all about, is that you are providing a great company for your employees, a great company for your trade partners, and a great customer experience. We want to make sure that we're meeting all of those needs. And, those are the stories that we love hearing from our clients, is just about, how we are helping them take that experience for everyone that's involved in these projects to the next level.
Can you imagine really the confidence that it gives the construction owners when they go out there, they're trying to sell the jobs, right? Which makes a lot of people nervous. And they know that behind them, they have great processes in place, great representation of how things are done in a company. It kind of speaks for itself when you're out there and you're presenting your contracts and communication with the clients. I can see how the clients would trust you and see that you have your ducks in a row and it's going to be a smooth sailing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can go listen to my podcast, Builder Stories. I mean, I've interviewed, business owners who, before JobTread, they have, taken on, some larger projects that they weren't really prepared to do. One in particular, he literally made one, mistake in an Excel formula that cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars, and ended up like he had to go take out a bunch of, loans. Got into this deep, cash flow hole that, basically then started compounding on interest. Like he was like almost like $1 million in debt because of, like, it was actually, I think, two jobs. He had two errors that again, they and most any other contractor, I'm sure, would have just filed for bankruptcy and quit. But, this guy has a tremendous, just persistence to say, I'm not going to throw in the towel. He is like, I think he's like almost dug himself out of that hole several years later, but it has taken a tremendous amount of effort and work. And he swears by, like, it is so important that you have systems and processes in place, because like one mistake can sink a company. And I have seen so many stories of this. And so, I think, as you owe it to yourself, to make sure that if you're going to take on, more and more projects, larger and larger projects, like, you got to be organized and you got to manage your financials.
I have so many countless stories on Excel spreadsheet just messing up the whole business. I mean, I can't stress enough the importance of upgrading from Excel spreadsheets to your JobTread and QuickBooks Online setup. I mean, I think those two speak together so good with each other that you wouldn't need anything else. You can manage it on both sides, and I really enjoy how the way it syncs both ways on most of the features.
No.
That is very helpful because, us as bookkeeping professionals, we do know how to work in JobTread, but also sometimes it's just, you get into QuickBooks while you're doing something there. You might as well get some invoices, mark them paid, enter some bills, things like that. And you know that those two are going to be talking to each other. You don't have to do the double entry anymore. I mean, with Excel spreadsheets, there's not double entry, there's 10 times entry, because you can't build out all of those necessary reports from plugging in only information once, and all of those mistakes on the formulas. I mean, it's so easy to make those mistakes. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think one of my number one piece of advice for every construction business out there, especially the newer ones, like, you have to have an accounting system in place. Like QuickBooks, it is a necessary evil. Again, I understand that, like, some people, there's a love-hate relationship with it, but like, my most important advice is that you find a bookkeeper, an accountant, a CPA, somebody who understands how to manage your books, and you put a system in place. Like, it doesn't matter how great you are at building and how much money you can make. If you are not setting yourself up financially and from an accounting standpoint to make sure that you are doing everything correctly, the last thing that I ever want to see happen to a successful contractor is, the IRS come back, tax issues, payroll not being done right. Like, just there are so many got-yous that you need to make sure that you've got that set up. And again, like, you don't need to hire a full-time person for this. Like, there are tons of great companies out there, such as, Beyond Booked Solutions here. Like, you owe it to yourself to set yourself up for success. There's no reason to scale your business if you do not have the right systems and processes in place, because, it's just a matter of time. And those things, you just never know when something's going to come out of the blue and just bite you. And you don't want that to happen. Like, be proactive here.
Yeah, I see a lot of guys trying to do it all themselves, for either because they are just startups, or because they don't feel like they can afford to hire help, or because they just feel like they can do it better than anyone. I am the one who's been struggling with that. I'm like, I can't outsource. What if they mess up my clients' books? I can't hire people. It was hard to let go and trust other people, but if you have processes in place, and processes, the right expert can help you develop the processes, especially if you're using JobTread and QuickBooks and you find somebody who actually knows how to use those software together. They can come in and help you build out the processes so you spend minimal time on it, but at the same time you are 100% sure that all the numbers you have in there are accurate, and you
Yeah.
can look at them live and make all the decisions that you need to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Setting up the chart of accounts, getting your products and services mapped to the cost codes in JobTread. Like, do yourself a favor and bring in somebody who can help you get all this set up correctly right away, because it's going to streamline so much of your business when you just take the time up front to do that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming and providing some insight into this great software. I mean, I am a big fan. I already told you about it. I am super excited to spread the word and let construction company owners know that this is definitely something they should look into. I will leave a link to JobTread so you guys could schedule a demo and see what this software is all about, see if it's a right fit for you. I know it's been a not just a right fit, but really a savior for a lot of my clients. And I am super excited. I'm thankful that you've created such a great software. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And thank you for, again, spreading the word. It's so important that people hear how this can transform their business and the importance of, making sure that they're setting themselves up for success. So, appreciate also all that you do for our clients and helping them with all of their bookkeeping, their accounting. It is a very, very much needed service. And I'm very appreciative of what you all do.
Thank you.